Hello humans. Today I'm going to teach you about another type of loop, the for loop. For loops accomplish the same goal as while loops. They repeat one or more actions until some condition is no longer met. The difference is that for loops run a set number of times, at least in most cases. Now, I want to make one thing clear from the start. Anything you can accomplish using a for loop, you can also do with a while loop. The reason we have two types of loops is because while loops are more suited to handle situations that need actions repeated while something is true. For loops are more suited to handle situations where you simply need to repeat something a set number of times. For example, when looping through a list, you want to loop once for every element in that list. I'm going to write a for loop that prints out every number in our list, favorite numbers. For every number in favorite numbers, I want to print out that number. Running this, we see that all of my favorite numbers print out. So here's the part that trips people up. Number, in this case, is just a variable, meaning that we can name it anything we want. If we were to change it to sweaty socks, then our code would work exactly the same as before, as long as we change the name in the for block to match. But let's switch it back because number makes more sense and is less gross. For loops work by creating a variable and giving it a value equal to the first element in the list that we are looping through. In our case, number gets created and set equal to 8 because that's the first number in favorite numbers. Then the for block runs. We get to our print statement. Number is holding 8 currently, so that's what we see print out. When we reach the end of our loop, we check to see if there are more numbers in favorite numbers. There are, so we set number equal to the next number in our list, 2. Now the for block runs and we print number again, except this time number is holding 2, not 8. The value of number has been overridden and the new value is what gets printed. We are at the end of the for block, so we check if we have more numbers in our list. We do, so we set number equal to the next one, 64. We print that number, which gives us 64 in our console, and we reach the end of our loop. We check to see if there are more numbers in favorite numbers, and since there aren't, we stop our loop. Our loop ran one time for every number in our list, or, in technical terms, our loop iterated once per element in our collection. In this example, I named our loop counter number, but you will often see this named I or J. This is very common shorthand. If seasoned programmers see that we are looping through a list called favorite numbers, they will assume that the loop counter will probably be storing numbers. Usually, we try to be descriptive with our variable names, but in situations like this, it's alright to be brief. At the end of the day, this is just another way that programmers have found to get out of a little bit of typing. Neither way is correct, so it really just comes down to your personal preference. A common place where you'll see I and J used is when nesting for loops. That's putting a for loop within another for loop. To demonstrate this, I'm going to make two lists. My goal will be to print A1, A2, A3, an empty line, followed by B1, B2, B3, and an empty line. To do so, I'll say, for I in my letters, for J in my numbers, print I plus the string equivalent of J. I will write an empty print statement below the nested for loop. Okay, let's run this and break down the mess I just made. We see A1, A2, A3, an empty line, B1, B2, B3, and an empty line print out, just like we wanted. Walking through our loops, we start our top level for loop by setting I equal to the string A. We call this first one a top level loop because it's not indented, it doesn't belong to another loop. We then run its for block, which begins with another for loop. Now we have to run this nested for loop to completion before continuing with our top level loop. Here we set J equal to 1 and run its for block. This prints I plus J, A plus the string equivalent of 1. This gives us a 1 in our console. Are there more numbers in my numbers? Yes, so j gets set equal to the next number, 2. Our print statement runs again, and this gives us a2. We repeat this process to get a3. And we stop there, because we have gone through every number in my numbers at this point. This takes us to the empty print statement, which gives us our blank line. We are now at the end of our top level for block, so we set I equal to the next letter in my letters, so I gets set equal to the string B. Now we run through the for block again. We begin by entering the nested for loop and setting j equal to 1. We print I plus j, which this time is B plus the string equivalent of 1. Then we set j equal to 2 and print b2. Lastly, we set j equal to 3 and print b3, followed by our empty line, and now we're done. There are no more letters in my letters, so our loop stops. This wraps up part 1 of for loops. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to amp up the power of for loops by using the range function, so I will see you in the next one.